What has Star Wars become? Star Wars used to be about hope and redemption. The fact that no matter what we do, we can come back. We can overcome. That's not to say that what Kylo did or what his story was Star Wars. It wasn't. The reason is because it's too repetitive to the story that's already been told and was told better. Anakin murdered children to save the life of his wife and child. There is no argument to provide that justifies Anakin's actions. What he did was the wrong thing. I don't care if his wife and child's lives were at stake or not, and that's why the choice is so difficult. Do I allow my wife and child to die like my mother did? I had the opportunity to save my mother. I was having dreams about her for a long time and waited too long to act, and she died in my arms. If I wait too long this time, the same thing will happen. I have to act quickly, and I'm willing to do whatever I have to stop it from happening again, and this time 2 lives are at stake, one of them being my very own child. Again, this does not excuse what he did. It only explains it. By the end of the story of Star Wars, Anakin has redeemed himself by giving his own life to defeat evil and save his son and the galaxy from the terror of the Emperor. After all the terrible things Anakin had done, he proved that we all can come back and do the right thing, even if it means giving our life. This story was told extremely well and never needed to be repeated. Mirrored, rhymed, sure, but not told again, and that's what Disney did. Disney approached their trilogy as if they were reintroducing Star Wars to an audience that had never seen it. What a stupid thing to do. Who would be watching a new Star Wars movie other than those who had seen the others? Honestly, that's really just an excuse to milk what worked before for profit and pretend to care for the fans. When the fans call them out on their nonsense, they are then labeled Yahtzees, racist, and sexist. Instead of taking thoughtful criticism from the fans, they chose the quick and easy path, as Vader did. Except with Vader, the primary motivation was to save his wife and child from death, whereas with Disney, the primary motivation was to save their pride and egos from any kind of harm. They resorted to lies and slander to protect their image when they were too stupid to see that by doing just that, they were damaging their image even further. I've heard many people wonder and ask, why are they so willing to lose so much money with their methods? For the last 10 years, they've produced crappy products and then blamed the fans for not liking it. But the answer is they don't view it as losing money. They view it as spending money. The money lost is spent, in their eyes, on the minds of the youth. Where Star Wars is entertainment that represents redemption and truth, it is only viewed by Disney as a tool to change the world to be what they want it to be. Disney Star Wars is controlled by weak men and mad, bitter women, who for some reason believe Star Wars has looked down on women for decades. Their perspective doesn't make any sense. Women in Star Wars have always been pretty, independent, and strong. Leia took charge when Luke and Han didn't know how to escape the detention area. Padme took charge when she led her people into the capital to take it back from the Trade Federation. Ahsoka takes charge in numerous episodes of the Clone Wars. If you want more women in Star Wars, that's perfectly fair. But there seems to be a desperate effort on Disney's part to pit male and female Star Wars fans against one another, and I don't understand it. So what has Star Wars become in Disney's mind? It's become a vessel, a hollow, dirty vessel, meant to only contain propaganda that is only beneficial to them. It is run by prideful, egotistical, stubborn morons. These are people that will run off a road and down a mountain to their death before ever admitting that their brakes aren't working. Why wouldn't they admit that their brakes aren't working? Because they're the ones that made them. They are deleting themselves and don't know it. It's a lack of self-awareness on a galactic scale. But at this point, honestly, I believe we're all past that now. Everyone is aware, but now it's just stubbornness. Stubbornness to not admit they don't know what they're doing. If they were to admit that, there would be even more pressure than there is now for them to either sell Star Wars back to George Lucas, or erase everything, conduct their own Order 66, and fire everyone that's ever been involved in Disney Star Wars. The latter will never happen, and I also believe they're too stubborn to sell it back to George, because that would be humiliating, and they would have to sell it back to him for far cheaper than what he sold it for, which is hilarious and beautiful. So what has Star Wars become? It's never changed. Star Wars is 6 movies and a TV show that represents hope, redemption, perseverance, and truth. And it always will be. Disney Star Wars, on the other hand, is a hollow vessel, pioneered by miserable and stupid men and women across the seas of envy, hate, and lies, inevitably coming to the great monstrous waves of truth and revelation. The revelation that they are in fact as stupid as we've all been saying all along. And yes, when they approach these waves, they will believe they can overcome them before being crushed and splintered into nothingness, before being forgotten and lost in time. Star Wars, on the other hand, is safely ashore and tanning in the warmth of love, honest debate, and discussion. Never forget, lies can win battles, but only truth can win wars. I'm Force Geek, and Star Wars lives forever.